Hello, stampers and creative pals. This is Kate with Kate's Creations, coming to you with another card building video using Stampin' Up! Products, and just a couple of little updates on all of my crafting, because I do more than just make cards. I also do paper crafting, and I also do things with my laser printer as well. So I was going to show you a couple of things that I've been doing. Today, my clock died in my craft room, and I was going to go buy one, and then I realized I have a Glowforge laser printer. I can make a clock, and I had some Clockworks in the drawer. So I wanted to show you what I made today. This is the clock that I made. It's not totally done because each of these holes will have a brass brad in them, but I didn't have any today. But I just really like it. It's so cool. And then something that might really interest some of you as stampers is I now have the ability to make the engraved and personalized bone folders. So this is something, if you're interested in, message me and we can talk about what you'd like. This is what I'm putting on mine to use for gifts for my fellow customers and just give them something. I've been trying to think ahead for Christmas, and I try to do something, and the cost is somewhat reasonable for me. So if you're interested in these, they would be $10 a piece. It costs me $6 just for the bone folder itself to get real bone folders, and that's what they have to be in order to be able to do them. So anyway, if you're interested, let me know. Stamping makes me happy, and it does. Okay, so if you're interested, give me a message. Okay, now on to the card building. This is the card we're going to make today. I am casing it from the current annual catalog, and this is the one I'm casing right here. You'll find it on page 34, and it uses the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set and the sunflowers dies. Used to be a bundle, now it is just sold separately, but they are both still available. So as you know, I totally redo my cases, and so this is my Celebrate Sunflowers case with the dies in the back, and I put in magnetic sheets, and there you have it. So that's what we're going to be using today, and it's also got some little brushed brass butterflies on it today, and we'll talk about papers and sizes as we go along. So starting with a basic white thick card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 to make a standard A2 sized greeting card. And we'll just burnish that with that beautifully engraved bone folder, because we can turn it over and put somebody's name on the other side. You might have a design that you like to have, so it can be personalized. There we go. Then this piece is Designer Series paper, and it's called Texture Chic, C-H-I-C. And I've really been enjoying that paper. I might have to get some more. I've cut this piece at 4 1/4 by 5.5 because I wanted it to cover the entire front of the card. So let me get my Stampin' Seal, and we'll get that on here. And when I'm placing mine, I set my card like this, and I start by holding it up from at an angle and getting one corner and just barely holding it in place till that corner matches. Then this corner matches, and then you can just lay it down, and there it is, perfectly straight. Okay. Now, we are using today the StazOn Saddle Brown ink, because we're going to be coloring with Blends pens. And so remember the rule, Blends pens are alcohol based, so you need to stamp with a water-based ink for the outline. If you were coloring with watercolors, you would stamp with an alcohol-based or pigment-based ink pad. Okay, so anyway, Saddle Brown StazOn. That's what I stamped all of these pieces with from the stamp set. Okay? And these are just cut. These are some of the dies in the set. They're just cut from Basic White. I might have used, yeah, Basic White. I was trying to remember. These are just cut from Basic White, and they have the double-sided adhesive on the back, so we'll be able to stick them onto the leaves that we're going to be coloring. And I also have the front for one of the flowers that I put double-sided adhesive on as well. Makes all those delicate things stick so much better, setting it over there so it doesn't get in the way. This is, let me get you some measurements here. I used shimmer white for my flowers, so there is just a slight shimmer to my flowers and leaves, so I used the shimmer white for that. Yeah, it's so subtle, I don't think you could see it in my video. So I used a 5.5 by 7 piece of shimmer white for the 2 flowers, this flower and the 2 or 3 leaves that I did. Okay, just so you know. This piece of olive is 1 by 3.5, and I used the Pick-a-Punch for that. Can you see those? Yeah, there you go. And it is, yeah, 1 inch wide, so you just slide it in until it's in place and then punch it and you get your flag end on there. On all of my punches, I created a label that goes across the end of them, so when I look up there at my storage, I can see the names of them. I don't know why when I'm trying to prepare a video for you guys, I like to be able to tell you what I'm using, and I can't always remember the names of everything, and so it really helps me a lot having the names of them up there, and so that's what I do for that. Okay, now we're going to do some coloring. To color, we're going to use Daffodil Delight Blends pens, Old Olive Blends pens, and what was this one? Flirty Flamingo Blends pens. Okay, and for the flowers, I'm going to start with the Daffodil Delight, and it is going to be the lighter one I'm going to use first, and I'm only coloring one of them. One of them does not get colored, so we're only needing to color one of them. And I'll be honest, it's just going to go everywhere. The shading will come in when I bring in the darker color, so I don't have to be super careful here. All I got to do is stay in the lines, and then I am fine. So this is going to go pretty quick. And I think you can see from the card, they came out pretty good. The lighting might be a little bit bad for that, but we'll pick it up and show you later. But you know, it's just really easy to just quickly, and I love these blends pens. Coloring with these blend pens, there's no streaks or weirdness about them. The color lays down perfectly, and it's just, I had a hard time getting started with them. I go, oh, I've got the blender pens, and I've got my ink pads, and I've got my markers, and I can do shading and all of that with those, and you absolutely can. But these blends pens, they're pretty cool, pretty darn cool. Now most of this is going to get covered, but I'm going to color it anyway. Okay, and then this flower is the same thing, just coloring the whole thing with the Daffodil Delight Light Blends pen. Here we go. Tomorrow is the creativity activity that Stampin' Up! Sponsored that you could have joined here a while ago, and I decided to do it. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be kind of fun to just have 3 hours of making cards with other people and using some of the things from the new mini catalog that just came out. So I'm looking forward to that. Now this is the Daffodil Delight Dark, and you've already got the shading lines in these flowers. Just follow them and add some dark shading. and just use those lines as your guide, and go kind of light. You know, when I say light, I mean with not a lot. Don't use a heavy hand. Keep your pen light, and so it stays kind of thin shading, doesn't get real dark, and I'm just following those lines. That's what they're there for in my mind, is just to help us know exactly where to add some shading. And you wouldn't have to add any at all, really. I mean, it's beautiful without it, but I do think it adds quite a bit to add just a little bit of shading. You'll have to tell me what you think. I love it when I get comments. I got a beautiful comment from a new subscriber just the other day, just yesterday, I think it was. And just bless her heart, I had done a paper pumpkin alternative, and I was sharing how you can't expect to like every single paper pumpkin kit. It's just not going to happen. Sooner or later, there's going to be one that you don't like for whatever reason. It's just not going to strike your fancy, because we all have different tastes. And so that's why I do alternatives, so that you can have something else you can do with your kit and still get your money's worth out of it and still come away with some beautiful designs. So I try to do alternatives every month. So if you subscribe to my blog, you'll be able to get those. Okay, there's the yellow. Now the green, of course, is for the leaves. And I'm starting again with the light color, because then I can come in and add the darker. And I'm just going to color my leaves. Oh, I missed a couple tips on there. Let me get my... I missed a couple petals. There we go. That always happens. And then we'll color the leaf in. Now I have to confess, I already have one leaf here, and I have to confess in the set. Let me show you what I did. These leaves, these two leaves were attached to each other like that. And you had to have both leaves, and then if you wanted to cut them out, you cut them out with this die. I didn't want both leaves all the time. Sometimes I wanted to just stamp one, so I cut mine in half. That's up to you. And when I put it on the block, if I want them to be together again, the cut is nice and smooth. I can just put them on the thing again like that, and then the die still works. Just so you know. I know that some people might be horrified at that. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's get these colored. And then, because that was just a single leaf, I cut it out by hand, and it came out fine. And it was only one leaf, so it wasn't too much work. Now, one thing is, I used the double-sided adhesive on the pieces that are going to go over these. You want to make sure that your alcohol inks have dried well, because your sticky won't stick if there's any moisture left. And then that would be sadly disappointing. Okay, now I'm using the dark, and again, I'm just keeping it a real light hand on it. And like I say, it's totally up to you. Whether you want to do this or not. You don't have to. You can leave it just plain. Might be even better if you just used the pin end instead of the brush end. But once it starts drying, I'm going to be happy with that. Then I came in with the Flirty Flamingo, and I added just a touch of pink to these leaves. And I don't know, it just really brought them to life. I was kind of glad to do that. I don't know if they did that in the catalog design or not. Couldn't tell you for sure. But I really liked how it just kind of seemed to add some color to those. Okay, there's the leaves all ready to go. Let's go ahead and stamp the sentiment. Let's celebrate you. I like that. They stamped it with Old Olive onto Old Olive. I cut this piece 1 by 3.5 and then put the, let's see, I managed to get ink everywhere on my edges. Let me clean that off. Okay, and put this on here. Just barely long enough, so you might want to think about that, but it worked. So that's ready to go. I did make the one on my original card here a little bit narrower, and then I thought I'd like it a little wider, so that's up to you. This one is 3/4 of an inch, and this one is a full 1 inch. Now, I'm sure this has had a chance to dry, and so I'm going to attach this. I've already peeled the backing off of this, and this has a definite 3-pronged where they're curved, and that's kind of where I use for my guide, and you can see them right here. And so then once I get that lined up, the rest just fall into place. And again, I try to just do it part way and press it down as I go. That's looking pretty darn good right there. So there's the flower. And then the leaves, I haven't peeled up the back yet. I use my handy dandy pokey tool. And the sparkle comes through. I wish you could see it, but the sparkle from the shimmer paper really does come through even after you've colored it, and maybe even a little more after it's been colored. Fortunately, it does not take very long for the alcohol inks to dry. As you know, alcohol evaporates quite quickly, and so it dries quite quickly. And there's the second one. Okay, now it's just a matter of building. So the first thing is I attached these two pieces together, and I don't know that there's a certain way to do it. It's just that just a part of it shows up behind. And I do believe, I'm trying to remember, I think I just glue dotted it. I'm pretty sure I did. And so it doesn't need a lot of bulk. I'm just going to put a glue dot right in the middle, maybe a couple of them so it'll stick good. And I'm going to let the rest be loose. And it's just giving it, let's kind of match those up just a little bit and kind of offset it. And there's my basic flower. Then I'm going to put a glue dot on the tip on the front of each of these leaves at the very base of the stem. And I am going to attach those to the back of this. Like about there and there. And then these pieces are going to get the same thing, a glue dot on the front, because then I'm going to stick them behind. And I had this one kind of come up like that, and this one basically like that. So we're getting there, almost done. Now I'm going to attach this whole thing with regular dimensional. I got a bunch of scrappy pieces here because I made card kits for a ladies' retreat here not long ago, and I made card kits for 72 women, and they all needed dimensionals for the kits. So I took my dimensional sheets and cut them up into little pieces so that I could spread them out for each kit. And then a few of them didn't get used, so then I saved them. So I have all these little scrappy pieces. It's kind of fun. Okay, then this is going to go on the front of the card. And let's see, about like, I guess it doesn't really matter which way, I'm going to do it just like that. Then the next thing that goes on is the sentiment, and it's going to go on with a dimensional as well. And as you can see, it's only going to need a dimensional on this one end. So let me just get one on this end. And then the rest just needs a little bit of Stampin' Seal. And you can place it however you want, higher or lower. It's up to you. I think right about there will work. Press it into place. Then this is going to go on, and part of it's going to go on. Oh, I think I'm going to have to lift that up and raise it up just a little bit so my flower will fit. So we're going to come up a little bit. There we go. And yeah, then I've got room for my other little flower. And so this is going to go on with a dimensional as well. So it's going to need dimensionals down in this area. And you don't really have to put Stampin' Seal on the other part, because the two dimensionals are strong enough to hold it. And we're going to put it so that it goes just like that. And then this little guy, this one little leaf, I wanted some more dimension, so get my Stampin' Seal to work. I'm just going to put it, you could use a glue dot on this as well, but I'm just going to put it under here and tuck it like that. And there is today's card. We still got to put on some little bit of bling. My favorite bling without bulk is the brushed brass butterflies. There's one on that sheet. Let's use it up. There's two sizes, and there's quite a few in here. I forget what the numbers are. It tells you somewhere, but I don't know where. But I'm using the larger of the two sizes, and some of them got away from being stuck to something else, and so we'll just put a couple here, and then there's a little one that got away here. I don't know if it kept enough sticky. We'll put it on the sentiment. And there are the butterflies. So there's today's card. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you will subscribe to my blog if you haven't. I hope that you will subscribe to Paper Pumpkin if you haven't, through me, and shop at my online store as well. And if you're a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I appreciate comments all the time. And if you use case my projects, if you case my projects, I appreciate it when you acknowledge where the card was originally made. This was obviously a case from the catalog, though. So just so you know, I don't try to misrepresent. Okay, thanks again for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed today's video.